If you enjoy this video, please subscribe. What's your dirty little secret?
When I was about 8, I was in a supermarket with my mom and she had to use the bathroom. I was sat on the bench outside waiting and there was one of those press to break glass fire alarms on the wall. I wanted to know how hard you had to press it. Not very hard, as it turns out. The whole store had to leave their shopping and go outside, well over 100 people. Not sure what happened after that because we just went home. It's been 20 years and I've still never told anyone. I technically failed my driver's ed class, which I needed to pass so I can get a license in my state. I got one more question wrong that over a failing grade. The proctor told me, change the answer you got for no, 11, then bring it back up. I went back to my table and asked what everyone got for number 11. They all gave the same answer, so I thought it has to be right. So I changed my answer, took my test back up to the proctor and she said, congratulations, you passed driver's ed. I lost the school spelling bee on purpose. The girl I was against put a lot of time and effort into it, whereas I basically just showed up. Plus, she was more on the nerdy side, not a lot going outside of school, and I felt she needed a victory. She missed a word, I purposefully missed it to keep her in. This happened a few times. Later, I missed one on purpose to give her the victory. She went on to the state competition. The teacher giving the words threw me a look of disgust, as she knew what I did. Oh well. I was 10 and lonely. My parents had been working day and night to get their startup business off the ground. It was the classic latchkey child scenario. As they say, idle hands are the devil's workshop. So after several months of spending my afternoons alone with microwave burritos and Transformers cartoons, I decided to diversify my entertainment selection. I proceeded to ransack the entire office, making it appear that a person had broken in and rummaged for money. I broke a window, 2 lamps, smashed the legs off a chair and pulled every file from the cabinets and tossed them around the room like confetti. I then called my mother and told her I'd just gotten home and found the place burglarized. She told me to get out of the house, and called 911 on her way home. The cops arrived with their sirens blaring at about the same time she rolled up. They stormed the house with guns drawn, screaming, "Come out with your hands up." When I saw them going all Delta Force through my front door, I knew that I had probably gone a little too far this time. Long story short, a detective came to take a report after the patrol cops had cleared the premises. As I was sitting on my living room sofa, surrounded by the tattered remains of my dirty work, the detective looked me dead in the eyes and said there was no break-in was there. The man looked right into my soul and knew the truth. And I knew he knew, so lying was pointless. I burst into tears and started blubbering. He walked over, put his hand on my shoulder, and said it'll be all right. Thankfully, I was young enough to escape any criminal charges. My parents weren't too harsh with their punishment either. I guess they figured it was more a cry for help than the actions of a burgeoning sociopath. For the next couple of years they made sure someone was always home with me. Or they made sure I was signed up for an after-school program. I came clean a few years ago. But in the 4th and 5th grade I had an obsession with sharp things like knives and razors and would bring them to school. One day our teacher was reading a book and I was messing with the razor behind my back and cut the overhead projector's cord and flipped the breakers for the room. They could tell I cut it but never found the razor blade I hid. 20 years later I find my teacher on FB who still teaches at the same school. I fessed up and told him where he might find the razor blade in the classroom. Sure enough, all these years later he found the blade with a hole burned in it from the shock. He decided to keep it as a souvenir from his very first year teaching. Edit. Wanted to add one more thing. This was because someone posted a class picture on FB and tagged everyone. It was like a mini reunion. All of my classmates and the teacher learned the truth, LOL. When I was in high school, I failed 2nd semester of biology. So here comes the next year and I have to retake it. Again, I pass 1st semester but fail 2nd semester, which means retaking the entire class. Well, I transferred schools after that. When I was getting all my transfer information looked over in the office at the new school, the woman noticed I had 2 passed 1st semesters but never passed a full class. I said, passing 2 semesters is kinda like the full class. She winked, and that was that. No more bio. So I guess it's our dirty little secret. 5-wire old me ruined my parents' marriage. I distinctly remember finding what I now know is a condom, unused, in our old station wagon. Me not knowing any better began playing with it. Got done, tossed it in the trash. Fast forward a short time later. My father returns home and begins to drag the can to the road. As he closes the lid he notices said condom, and you can guess where it goes from there. I didn't learn that was the reason until I was about 14 to 15. The CEO of the company is a micromanager who wants to make even the tiniest decisions. He has a coffee mug with the text, Rule 1, I am always right, Rule 2, when not, see Rule 1. It might be a joke, but I feel it's a constant subliminal message he sends himself. So, I hid the mug a couple of months ago. I just left the company last week, and did not return the mug. ETA, thanks for the awards, this is now my top comment. At the time he looked for it, frantically searching all offices and inquiring us if we are using his mug. I played dumb obviously and laughed my ass off. I did not steal it, I am 6'6", no one else in the company is, and it sits on top of the kitchen cabinets, just out of sight and reach. I never wrote my 7th grade science paper on dysentery, and when my teacher asked me if I turned it in, I said yes. She looked through all of the papers and stacks of paperwork on her very crowded desk, and she said she knew she saw it there somewhere. I got a B for a paper I never wrote. Sorry, Ms. Weber. When I was a kid, 17, I worked at a Greyhound station. I accidentally sent a woman to Salmo instead of Salmon Arm because I thought it just ran out of print space on the ticket/screen. I had never heard of Salmo back then. That woman had to spend an entire night in Hell's Half Acres, and lost an entire day of travel. My boss chalked it up to a glitch in their antiquated machine. Really, it was me. I also would occasionally steal a bag of chips from that store when I got bored/hungry. God, I was such an asshole. I slept with my mom's friend. She was younger than my mom. She was 32 and I was 20 at the time. She stopped me one day as I was walking by her apartment and asked if I could take a look at her laptop because the Wi-Fi wasn't working. I said of course and started looking for the cause of it. While I was on her couch with the laptop, she comes out of the kitchen with a bottle of tequila and 2 shot glasses. At that point I knew the real reason I was there. Needless to say, there was nothing wrong with her Wi-Fi. I have a kitten I'm feeding without my wife's knowledge. She hates cats and I found one on the street. Every night before I go home I stop by the store and get cat food. She always asks me why I come home late every other night. I say I'm working. Or out with the guys, but I sit and talk to this stray cat about my problems and how Mew Day was. I named her Senua. From Senua's Sacrifice.